All right, welcome to System 2 of Common Progressions. This is the practical application of the Guitar Daily Workout. So the Guitar Daily Workout, obviously, is you working out your scales and arpeggios and most fundamental things on the instrument. But if you don't learn how to apply those things, you never really get them internalized. You might have scale capabilities, arpeggio capabilities, which are the key foundations for everything. But once you apply them, they become music and they become you. So what we're going to do on this one, we're going to start just like we did on the last one. We're going to be doing arpeggios. So my arpeggios, I've got some interesting things happening with the arpeggios. I'm going from the arpeggio C major, so out of the A form of the C major, but then I'm going to the relative minor. What that means is I'm basically going down 3 steps to the note A, and an A minor 7 and a C major 7 are the exact same thing. So what that means is if you're playing an A minor or C major, you can play the C major scale, which is the same as the A minor scale. You can play the C major pentatonic, or you can play the A minor pentatonic, which is the exact same notes, just starting on a different note, basically. So once you learn one piece of information, you have 2 pieces of information that are really vital, super, super important things. And this is an important concept. All right, so we're going to start off. We're going to play the arpeggio. The arpeggio is going to... is your arpeggio. Obviously, the hard part about this thing is the rolling of the finger. Some of you have been asking about, do you use 3rd finger if the 4th finger is too weak? Yeah, whatever works for your hands, that's a really important concept. Everybody's hands are different, and everybody has different strengths and different capabilities. So maybe for you, if you go to that 4th finger, it's impossibly difficult, and you just can't really play it. Well, you can switch to the 3rd finger. That's totally fine. One thing that I would do, though, is make sure you get this roll. And if you notice, when I did that, I didn't do anything with my right hand differently. I'm just rolling my finger along, so it doesn't sound like this. And that doesn't sound bad, but if I put a lot of distortion on, it's going to sound awful. You're going to get this big mess of sound that doesn't sound very articulate. So whether you do it with your 4th finger or your 3rd finger, try to do the roll. You might not be good at it, but that's part of what this exercise is about also. All right, so let's move on to some ideas, some practical ideas. So we're going to be playing over top of the C major and A minor, just your arpeggio notes. You can play them in any order, you can play them any way that you want, and you can do any rhythms. But here's a couple of tips for you. First of all, try to think in your mind doing accurate rhythm. So maybe you start off, let's say my rhythm here is like this. Maybe you start off just working on that roll, quarter notes. And then like we did in the last one, you could do triplets. And you see I like switched my fingers midway too on that. So doing different rhythms, 1 E and a 2 E and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Being able to do those different rhythms and basing whatever phrases you're playing out of those rhythms. And again, when you play these like arpeggios, you don't have a lot of options. You just have 3 notes that you're dealing with. But I'm trying to train like the core notes, because eventually arpeggios are going to be really, really important, because that's where your melodies are going to be based out of. So this is actually really important. And one of the hardest things you can do on the guitar, actually, if you're doing 3 on a string, it's kind of messy, but you get the idea. Like I can go really fast on 3 on a string, but when I'm doing 1 note across the strings, it's very difficult to play well, accurately, and fast. So even something as simple as can be very difficult for you to do. Or if you're doing that roll, doing something like that can be difficult. So work on that right hand, focus on your right hand, play from your wrist more than from your elbow if you can. Try not to hop too much. So your picking hand, if I'm this way, you shouldn't be like jumping up and down too much. So if you want some good tips on great picking, look up a guy named Troy Grady. He'll talk about slant picking, which is a really important concept. Okay, let's jump back in though. So for regular players, if you're just getting this stuff, just try to get these notes down clean. and do some different rhythms in there, whatever rhythms you hear. We're going to go from C to A minor, F to D minor, and then finally up to G. For the F to D minor, it's the same shape that you're going to play, that A shape, and when you go up to the G, same thing. All right, for you more advanced players, a couple things you can do. One thing is you can skip notes. Seems really easy, but it's a little bit hard. You can do it, you know, quarter notes, triplets, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, 16th notes, and so on. If you're doing 16th notes, you're going really fast, so try to be accurate, and maybe you do a little tiny bit of a burst, and you just try to get that part down, you know, something like that. The other thing you can do is you can do more than one note per string. So maybe you... Or you could do 3. Something like that. Or doing 4 of those. And again, you can do little patterns where you do like... and so on. So working those little patterns. All right, so we'll jump into this. Yeah, and you know, just play over top of these patterns. Whatever you're hearing in your head, though, trying to put your hands and your ears together to really apply these concepts.